This chart illustrates a massive gap in manufacturing math. On the left is an 800-pound savings by a purchasing team on a replacement part. On the right is the 62,000-pound cost of the shutdown that followed. Nobody joined those numbers together. That disconnect is not an isolated purchasing error. It is a recurring systemic failure happening every week in plants across the UK. It happens because highly engineered components are being selected by administrative teams. They work from parts catalogs and unit prices, entirely separated from the operating data on the factory floor. Consider a standard scenario. A centrifugal pump on a chemical processing line starts to show increased leakage. Maintenance flags it for repair. The original specification called for an FKM seal, a fluorocarbon rubber. But looking at a spreadsheet, the procurement team swaps it for a standard nitrile option, or NBR, strictly because the unit price is lower. Treating complex engineering components as simple catalog commodities sets an invisible financial trap for the entire production line. Eventually, that trap springs. In ambient conditions on a standard water pump, that cheaper nitrile substitution operates perfectly well. But this specific case study features a process line running at an elevated temperature, moving a mildly aggressive chemical. As you can see, within 3 months, the cheaper nitrile elastomer physically swells, softens, and blisters. This cross-section shows the mechanical consequence. The expanding O-ring pushes the rigid seal faces out of alignment, breaking containment. Once that gap opens, process fluid escapes. Before this leak becomes visible to an operator, friction has permanently damaged the pump's central shaft sleeve. This destruction is a mathematically and scientifically predictable consequence of ignoring the original engineering specifications. When a catastrophic leak occurs, the industry standard is to inspect the damaged seal faces and immediately blame a mechanical installation error. There is a much sharper way to diagnose the problem. The true root cause is found by inspecting the condition of the O-ring before you ever look at the seal faces. If you find the O-ring swollen or extruded into the gland like this one, you are looking at a chemical or thermal incompatibility. The cracked seal faces beside it are merely a symptom. If the O-ring is perfectly intact but the faces are damaged, the root cause is mechanical. You are looking at a misalignment, an inadequate flush, or an incorrect setting dimension. The standard inspection method treats the symptom, guaranteeing the exact same failure repeats 6 months later. Inspecting the O-ring first isolates the true cause. Proper forensic diagnosis prevents a single misdiagnosed leak from compounding into multiple, highly expensive plant shutdowns. The failure in our chemical plant case study began at the very first point of specification. Nobody read the documentation to ask why the more expensive FKM material was chosen in the first place. Before any order is placed, a seal specialist asks 3 mandatory questions. First, what is the exact process fluid, and what is its temperature, specifically at the seal face, not at the pump inlet? Second, what elastomer is currently fitted, and what was the original engineering justification for its use? Third, we check the matrix. This chart maps fluid types against temperatures. A specialist demands to see the rigorous chemical compatibility data for any proposed substitute to ensure it lands in the green under those specific conditions. Those 3 questions take 10 minutes. They cost absolutely nothing to ask, and they are the exact barrier between standard operations and a 62,000-pound emergency shutdown. This is what a retainer relationship provides. It puts a proactive specialist in the room to ask these questions, rather than relying on a reactive supplier who simply fulfills a parts order. That specialist intervention happens at the precise moment of specification, long before the wrong part is ever ordered and the line goes down. If specification decisions are currently being made in a vacuum of expertise within your facility, you are actively exposed to this exact financial risk. Visit acumenseals.co.uk or message me directly. The conversation costs nothing, which makes it the only logical alternative to a devastating shutdown cost.